Good morning and welcome to ForexTV.com's AM Forex New York. Today is Thursday, January 10th. I'm Caitlin Sisney. The Bank of England kept its benchmark interest rate unchanged today as policymakers assess the effects of last month's reduction on the economy. Sterling rose versus the dollar after the announcement, as many investors had expected the BOE to continue easing. Sterling is trading at 196.17. The euro was near the lowest in a week against the dollar on bets the ECB will signal it is unlikely to raise interest rates this year because of a slowdown in economic growth. Euro is trading at 146.66. Meanwhile, the dollar traded near one week high versus the yen on speculation Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke will say the U.S. can avoid a recession in a speech in Washington today. Yen is trading at 109.83. Today we're joined by Joseph Francomano from Erste Bank. Joe, can you recap today's BOE decision and give us your outlook for the day ahead, specifically the ECB decision and what you expect from Bernanke's comments?
Good morning, this is Joe Francomano from Erste Bank in New York. The big announcement thus far today has been the Bank of England left rates steady at 5.5%. Although many participants expected this, but given the current rate environment, particularly of the Fed and the global credit crunch, some people felt that the Bank of England needed to cut today, despite whatever political winds are blowing in the UK. The fact that they didn't, however, has sent some of the European indices, equity and stock markets, softening a little bit on the back of this news, perhaps that the bank is out of touch. Later on this morning, we have the ECB. The ECB is not expected to raise rates. However, the tone of Trichet's press conference is what the market is looking into. The ECB, which has been a hawkish bank from day one, is expected to maintain some type of balance between their inflation-fighting stance, which is, of course, well known, and perhaps some softening rhetoric about further interest rates. It's not necessarily what the ECB hasn't planned for today or next month, but perhaps later in this year if the ECB is going to follow the other central banks and cut interest rates. Then later on this afternoon, we have Bernanke testifying, or Bernanke has a press conference, I believe, and of course that, excuse me, will be the major news as far as the dollar is concerned and the U.S. equities. Markets obviously are clamoring for a half-point cut, given last week's extremely poor non-farm payrolls report, may be justified. Bernanke, with all the Fed statements or the Fed official statements over the last week or so, is being looked to provide some clarity in an otherwise cloudy picture as far as the future of U.S. interest rates. How this impacts the dollar and the rest of the currencies today? Well, the dollar seems to be trading relatively stable over the past week or so. There is a coupling effect, of course, with the equity markets, but because of dollar-yen steep drop at the beginning of the year, we are seeing some reshifting right now in portfolios. The market, obviously, equities have dropped tremendously, over 5% in the last week. We did see a 1% rebound yesterday. However, it was at a bit of a correction. I'm not sure yet. At this point, dollar-yen offers do appear to be heavy above 110. The downside risk would be below 108.75 or so. The euro also, we've seen euro-dollar carving out a range recently between 146.50 or 146.40 and the top side around 147.35.40. I believe the euro is really going to be sympathetic to the other crosses. The euro-yen has been heavy, of course, as well as the euro-Swiss. We have seen the euro receive a very firm bid of late against the sterling, but that was in anticipation of a possible B of E cut. So with today's B of E hanging, keeping rates steady, and the long-standing downtrend right now of the euro-yen, the euro-Swiss, I would not be surprised at all today to see the euro continue to test the downside, to continue to test expected bids around the 146.5, 146.35.40 levels. However, if you do see the cracks and the crosses start to deepen. If you do see euro sterling come off a little bit harder, if you do see the euro yen and the euro Swiss continue to trade with their soft tone, I would not be surprised to see the euro trade down towards the 146 figure level today. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. That's all for your AM Forex New York. I'm Caitlin Sisney. Join us again later for another update right here on ForexTV.com.